You're listening to Porchville. We're back after this for a quick lineup and the rotation. I've done broadcasts at the Midnight Lounge. I've also worked at WAMO in Pittsburgh, and I hope by doing some more broadcasts, and we can continue with a show lineup. We have some great sponsors, including Permani Brothers, and it also, um, yeah, because a whole list of things. Um, the whole writing of the Porchville and talk show is to, kind of light conversation. I know there's been some very politically challenged. This is where I'm politically challenged because I don't get into the politics and religion stuff at all. But educating ourselves on what happened to a lot of the Trump voters and why voter intimidation is a reality is why we stay engaged. Because I personally think voting for Trump was the best things, and still will believe that's the best move that a lot of us made. And I don't think that everybody shares the same concerns. Now, also, I realize that they're abusing Trump voters. So, to me, the worst thing that leadership could ever do is pass down a billion-dollar debt, billions and billions in debt. Everyone here is probably not voting for the debt that they're accumulated. So I'd rather have somebody who's business-minded enough to know how to take that debt and do something with it, instead of some of you carrying a debt that you don't want to be paying the bill. Meaning some of you owe an $100,000 debt and somebody's going to come to collect. So I don't know. On principle, it's totally wrong. At the same time, cryptocurrency is definitely offers something that most Americans need to look at. And if you don't, check out AMTV, because there's a backup support channel that we have also. And AMTV is talking about the very same thing, also Mickey's prophecy update. And we can confirm every one of those concerns, because it's not just happening here in Pennsylvania, it's happening in Arizona. And the border issue is just as relevant as what happened on Operation Fast and Furious is what's happening on Erie County border right now. In fact, I was talking to some people in Erie County about what's going on the border, and I want you all to know that how important it is to have just not a talk show, but communicating back and forth. And you're welcome to sit at my table and have a talk, because that's really what this is about. It's about getting informed and paying attention to those alerts. You just heard this story about the presidential alerts, which I believe that's part of what's going to be. It's just like the emergency broadcast system that you see on TV. Now, some other things that I wanted to share about. Yeah, we have a lot to share. And in this lineup, I have to prove it because this is my show. Thank you very much. This is our show, and some things that were going on with the hand and some other incidents that occurred. What I'm concerned about is initially our overall safety. What I am, and I think I'm not the only one, but Pastor Langford also was sharing this, and also Sheila Zelinsky, and I listened to a lot of the Weekend Vigilante, and also Thor News and other channels on YouTube. And I refer over to a lot of these channels because it's basically the same information. And also Coach Dave TV Live, if you want to get a chance to listen to that. We sponsor Coach Dave TV Live from Columbus, Ohio. And I met Coach Dave, and we've been to the Florida Prophecy Conference, and I really appreciate what they're doing at the Florida Prophecy Conference, because it's exactly what's been going on over the last 30 years, especially right now, where victims need to speak out and discuss things at the table. And if you have privacy concerns or you have safety concerns, there are things you can do to, just keep yourself safe. Initially, I think the gun control issue, I think what's not explained is that not everybody wants to carry a gun. Most victims, though, to disarm victims and to tell us that somehow this is about gun control, it's not. Guns in the right hands, it's not a criminal act to carry a gun, by the way. What they want you to believe is they want you to believe that the bad guys are going to come after you, and they do this. There's all kinds of propaganda on TV right now The boob tube is full of propaganda. And if you get the subliminal messages of what's going on in music, and et cetera, and here you are. You get what's going on. And also the implementation of the RFID chip and how people are indoctrinated over a period of time. If you believe a lie long enough, you start to be conditioned. It's how to deprogram and think differently about how the world really works. Great example. I was just reading this on YouTube and Facebook, YouTube, about a supermodel who was jailed for talking about Illuminati. Now listen, everyone who I've ever talked to or studies or does homework or research on YouTube or follows news and news junkie gets what's going on. Because Hillary said it best. There's an info war and they're losing. And the more the internet has been, it is. And Hillary said it. I mean, she said there was an info war and they're losing. And this is their words, not mine. This is from the Democrats. So, I mean, I gotta give you credit, Democrats. Liberalism is a mental disorder, and this is spoken better than the one that said it best about trickle-down poverty is Michael Savage, because if you haven't studied enough, you've got to study yourself to be approved and get what's going on there. And we send a lot of this stuff over to the Hagman Report, because the Hagman Report is putting its finger on the pulse on these topics. And believe me, if you don't have if you're not a prepper, you're going to become one right away. Because watching and I want to phase out this part of the topic to get to something important about why it's good to have a better idea what's going on in your terrain perimeter and know what to do, how to bug out, how to get your family prepared, how to have a stockpile up right now, how to have food, and bugging out in certain areas, especially in larger cities like here in Pittsburgh, this region. It's good to bug out while you can. Because, listen, it's Red October. If anybody hasn't figured it out by now, if you haven't followed the channel, you need to. You need to know how to bug out, how to get your family to a safe location. It's on their Homeland Security. It's on the .gov sites. You can do your own homework at your own leisure. Bugging out means, getting prepared. Get your neighbors prepared. Get your community prepared. Because believe me, the one thing I can tell you, you're not going to be wanting to walk those streets at all. I did this beta tested it myself. And I'm telling you, between stolen cell phones and drugs, that's as bad as it could get for some of us, beta tested and all. So I hope that everybody out here gets what's going on. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but let me say it's bad enough that we call it the red horse of the apocalypse to begin with. And if you didn't get to see this, it's a very fascinating story about the white horse apocalypse. I really believe that most of these were unleashed in the 1970s. My dad was an engineer, and he told me a lot about what was going on in the 1970s. And the white horse of the apocalypse reminds me of the cocaine. The cocaine was released just to destroy, not just the white cocaine, not black, because there's no such thing as black. Cocaine, the white horse of the apocalypse is cocaine, and the red horse of the apocalypse to me is the abortion issue. And the pale horse, I can guess depends on how you look at the death, illness, immunization injuries, stuff like that. And to me, when I saw the green horse, that you have to see it. It occurred in Egypt 7 years ago, and it was a really amazing thing to watch. And this was going on during the riots, and during that time, there was a reporter, Laura from CBS, who was raped and gang raped. That it's very relevant because right before that happened, that green horse. You'll see it on there 7 years ago. Laura, I'm sorry if I didn't get your name. Yeah. Gang raped in Egypt. And the reality is that women and children are, that threat is as real as if it happened that day. And for rape victims, like, in fact, the reporter, and also stories about, like, Aaron Andrews and etc. They're, to me, we're just touching the surface on the assaults that are happening to reporters, to doctors, just for reporting stuff. So we got to be that much more aware. And we only speak in general terms because we know there's much more to the privacy issues and what we've been seeing on YouTube and what we see from the news headlines. Believe me, when I say politically challenged, no one, I don't know anybody that wants their privacy violated. So we try to be respectful when it comes to topics like this, because we know we're touching a nerve on certain things, so we're not trying to do that at all. We need to be 10 steps ahead of it, aware of what's going on and what to do and how to take measures to protect ourselves, our neighborhood, our community. That information prepares you mentally on what to do, okay? You're not going to be wanting to go crazy over it. You're going to want to look out for your family. You're going to want to each help each other through it. And that's really what it's about. Sitting at the table, praying with your family, talking to your kids. That's what it's really about, okay? All these people can get upset about all this other stuff. It's not going to matter. You sit down every night, hug your family a little tighter every night. And there's a lot more coming up next year, and I promise you, it's exhausting to try to put a radio channel together. And I've definitely put a lot of work into it. And I'm grateful that I did it. Because it's called hard work. And hard work is earned. And when you work for something and you do it without expecting something in return, without having to, like, be taken advantage of or abused in it, it makes it all that much more worth it. We'll be back after this. You want to stay tuned to more. We are Family Therapy Radio 10-4.